of a child delirious from fever. And I've watched that little body grow quiet and the fevered brow cool. I've sat beside a dying saint, her body racked with pain, who in those final fleeting seconds summoned her last ounce of ebbing strength to whisper earth's sweetest name, Jesus. Jesus. Emperors have tried to destroy it. Philosophies have tried to stamp it out. Tyrants have tried to wash it from the face of the earth with the very blood of those who claimed it. Yet still it stands. And there shall be that final day when every voice that has uttered a sound, every voice of Adam's race, shall raise in one great mighty chorus to proclaim the name of Jesus. For in that day, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. Ah, so you see, it was not mere chance that caused the angel one night long ago to say to a virgin maiden, his name shall be called Jesus. 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 There's just something about that name.
Not sure I need to preach. She covered it about covered it all, didn't she? That's all right. I have something else for you. We'll switch gears just a little bit. On Christmas Day this past year, Phil Depot was away from home and away from his family, and I was away from home, away from my family, and he called and said, let's go see a movie. So we went to see what it has now been given more nods for the Oscar than possibly any other movie in history. We went to see The King's Speech. Don't know if you've seen it yet. I will tell you that Phil didn't get to see all of it because he fell asleep during the movie. Well, he said he was resting his eyes. I don't want to embarrass you. He was resting his eyes a little bit and snoring. But no, I'm teasing him. We had a good time. And, you know, there was the main line, the main theme of the story is not what I want to talk to you about. There were several underlying themes, as there usually are in movies, you see. But one of the underlying themes that I noticed was that the eldest brother of the king, who was next in line for the throne, really just wanted to live a life of partying. You see, you had money because the royalty had money. He had inheritance coming to him. But he really did not want to lead the country. He did not want all of the responsibilities of going to all of these major affairs and representing. He really just wanted to live a life of partying and fun all the time. Any of you know people like that? They just want to party and live life all the time with no worry of jobs or responsibility. Oh, maybe some of you are like that. Or maybe you've had a part of your life that you were like that, and had the money continue to flow, you might still be there. But, you know, most of us end up having to eat somewhere along the way, and, you know, while our charms may go a long ways and our looks may go a long ways, after a while, usually some of that fades. So we have to work. Well, you know, that story in the king's speech is not a new story. That part of the story was not new. It's not new at all. I mean, look, we're reading out of the first book of the Bible, out of Genesis, about Jacob and Esau. And we have Esau, who is the firstborn of the twins. They're twin brothers. And what you didn't read, but those of you who are Bible scholars already know this, that when they were born, they weren't 2 or 3 or 4 minutes apart. One was born right behind the other. In fact, Jacob was holding on to the heel of Esau. In fact, even before they were born, they caused so much disruption in Rebekah. There was so much fighting going on in the womb that she went to what would have been the equivalent of a doctor today to see what was wrong. She went to someone for special prayer to say something's going on. This is not normal. Of course, she was a first-time mother, so some things that might have been normal didn't seem normal to her. But it felt like they were fighting inside of her. And then when they were born, Jacob was holding on to Esau, his older brother's heel. Of course, we know now, looking back, that that was sort of a foreshadowing of things to come. And there was a word of prophecy that the older would serve the younger. That they would be famous, and they would be wonderful, and they would be all that and more. They would be great in the eyes of people in the world, but the younger one would be the leader of the older one. Well, we had a little story. We had a little bit about Jacob and Esau. And notice even when we refer to them, we refer to the younger before the elder. Jacob and Esau. I've never heard anybody say Esau and Jacob. It's always Jacob and Esau. Well, there's a reason for that. We find that as they were growing up, that Esau was a furry man. He was a bear of a man, in putting some of our terms. He was a butch thing. He was almost as butch as Sarah Palin. He could kill and hunt and kill and hunt and kill and hunt. Every week they just couldn't get enough. Put him with a fish, he's going to kill it. Put him with a moose, he's going to kill it. Put him with everything, he's going to kill it. He was the butch one. I mean, so furry that later on, Rebekah helped Jacob trick their daddy, Isaac, by putting animal fur on his hands, arms, and neck. He was a hairy thing. Jacob was smooth, and according to the scriptures, he dwelt among the tents. No hunting for him, not going out there in the woods, not getting dirty, staying close to mama. In fact, all that I can read and study about him really indicates he was a mama's boy. There's not much wrong with that now, because I'm a mama's boy too, and I think I turned out all right. Some of you are mama's boys. And while it's not really good to pit children against each other, the truth of the matter was that Isaac really loved and cared for, well, maybe he didn't love him more, but he liked and preferred Esau. And Rebekah really doted on Jacob. So one parent had a favorite, and the other parent had a favorite. As we know from today's story, one day Esau's been out hunting, killing stuff, and he has come back exhausted. And you know how hunters are. A lot of times they go out for days at the time and they don't even sleep, and they come back just exhausted. He comes back, and what is Jacob doing, of course? Cooking. He's got the best smelling stew going right now that Esau has ever smelled. Oh my goodness, that is just wonderful. Can I have some of that? And Jacob says, well, of course you can, my brother. Of course you can. I'll sell you some. I will sell you something. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Jacob was, he was known to be the perfect little boy kind of thing, but he had a sneaky streak. You better watch some of these perfect little people running around. They might just have a little sneaky streak going on. He was very ambitious, you see, even at an earlier age. And he says, I will sell you a cup of this stew if you will sell me your birthright, or give me your birthright. We're going to just do a trade here. Your birthright. The birthright is something of the firstborn, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. Because I wanted to know when I was studying here, well, exactly what was he trading away? Because, was this something that was like, oh, well, sure, fine, and he gives it to him, and it's no big deal, and we never hear the end of it? Or is it something that he could just put on him all the time and constantly remind him, oh, remember what you did? Was he just a nag with it? Was this Jacob a nag to Esau? Well, let me ask you something. Later on, as they grew into adulthood and really took on life and took on leadership, Esau's name was changed to Edom. And his followers were Edomites. You heard of any Edomites lately? I haven't. In fact, I tried to find online, and Google just could not help me very much. I'm going to just tell you that the Edomites are just scattered all over the world. Nobody really claims to be an Edomite. Or if they do, nobody knows what that is. Descendants of Esau, you see. You know why? Because Jacob later, his name was changed to Israel. And all of his children and followers are called Israelites. Anybody ever heard of them? Yeah. Oh, okay. Do you see where I'm going here? Well, what exactly did he do that day? He wanted food. He was hungry. In fact, according to the scripture, he told Jacob, I am just about to die. I have almost lost consciousness. I literally had to crawl over here to the pot. I followed the smell because I was so hungry. I'm going to die if you don't give me something to eat. He was looking at that one moment. And this is the message today. Looking at what's right in front of you as opposed to how it's going to affect your future. And this is all that God would give me this week. I kept saying, looking beyond the moment, looking beyond the moment, looking beyond what's right in front of me right now. And I wonder how many of us are guilty of just having to have right now what I want. We do live in that instant society, don't we? Oh my goodness, I put something in the microwave the other day and it said it was going to be 4 minutes, and when I got finished at 4 minutes, it wasn't quite done. I had to put it in for another minute. I kept standing there, come on. And I thought, this is real. And then I got tickled at myself. I was frustrated first, and then I got tickled, and I was like, oh my God. My grandmother would have spent 3 hours cooking this, and it's taken me 5 minutes. And I'm being impatient. It's just not cooking fast enough. I mean, I didn't have to go out and hunt it down or kill it. I picked it up at the grocery store I didn't even have to dirty a dish. I didn't have to pluck it or clean it. I didn't have to wring its neck. And I've seen my grandmother do that. I didn't have to do any of that kind of stuff. I just stuck it in. I mean, it was in a little slide. All I had to do was slide it out of the wrapper, put it right in. And I was being impatient.